Welcome back to Ministry Talks Podcast.
That's right. Welcome back.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Season 5.
That's right, man.
I loved episode 1.
I thought it was good.
Leaving like a grown-up.
That's right.
I think some of us should live like a grown-up too.
That good.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, you can say
okay,
that.
I'm a youth pastor, so I feel like there's moments of things where like, can I say that? Am I at the space of my life where I can say that? But I've got a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old, so I think I can say that.
Yeah,
I think I can say that.
I've got a 22 and a 19, and I want to look at them and sometimes and go, you know what? Live like a grown-up. Like,
this is where the act your age, not your shoe size comes into play. Hey, if you're joining us for the first time, I want to say thank you. Welcome. Glad that you're here. Welcome to Ministry Talks Podcast. If you've not liked, if you've not subscribed, make sure you go to Spotify and YouTube. Please hit that bell. We'd love to, stay with you, and we're glad that you're here. If you've got questions about what we're talking about, or maybe you just want to tell us, hey, thank you for what you're doing, go to mintalkspodcast@gmail.com. And we would love for you to, we have a coffee with every episode.
That's right.
And so we would love for you to get involved, and you can be a part of that. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Ministry Talks Podcast. There's 3 different levels of where you can get access, and they may be some shorts. You may get a reference of what we're talking about to a book we may talk about. Anything that we're talking about, you'll get access to that. So we want to say thank you for all the supporters.
Yes, absolutely.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Discipleship will fix that.
Exactly.
I was a part of a discipleship program for 4 years. That was a very interesting season.
I'm sure.
It's called Life Internship.
Just like there's an app for that. Seriously, like that was a big
like back in 2000,
a big push.
Yeah.
From Apple or from all of the. Yeah, there's an app for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the concept behind this.
Okay.
When we experience somebody in ministry or in life, right? Rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Messing up probably in a patternistic way.
Yeah.
Or someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm struggling with so-and-so.
Yeah.
Will you pray for me? Right? That's all they ask for is, will you pray for me?
Yeah.
That's the answer, is discipleship will fix that, right? It's not just enough to pray for someone.
Yeah.
We are supposed to walk with them and help disciple them and help them overcome or help them in that struggle. So.
Like what you're asking me to pray for is like after we get done preaching, a quick 30-second
prayer at the end.
It's not going to work on that.
I think it's John Chris that has a set in his new set. He's like, I'm not going to pray for that. I'm not praying for that. Like, but he's being real. Like, oh, can you pray that I get, can you pray that I get a good parking spot at Target? I'm like, no, I'm not praying for that. I'm not going to go to the creator of the universe.
Right.
With that. But what I will tell you is if you actually will, go and park in the back 40 and walk, you can park wherever you want, you know, but that's a part of discipleship. That's hey, if you do it this way,
right,
then you're going to see a different result.
Well, then I think that comes down to, and maybe we'll talk about it in the season, are you teachable?
Right.
Because if you're coming and asking, hey, can you pray for me in this season as I'm walking through such and such?
Right.
What you're asking is, will you walk with me in this season as I'm facing such and such?
As long as they're asking, because most of the time it's like, hey, I'm struggling with this thing. Will you pray for me? Good. The pastor prayed. That means I'm going to not struggle anymore. And then the next time you struggle, you're like, well, pastor's prayers didn't work.
Right. And that's not fair.
Don't do that.
That's not fair. That's not fair. And that's not okay.
That's not how
I'm going to look at you in the face and tell you that that's not fair.
That's not how that works. Okay.
So then, okay, I joined this program after I graduated high school.
Okay.
Intern program. 4 years of a discipleship program.
Okay.
You learn, there's things that we learn, right? Life application, budget, leadership, we did mission trips, all these things. Some of the things that we went through helped, but it still didn't really prepare us for the real deals of life that you were going to face.
Right.
Here's a question I got for you, right? Let's open up with this question. How long do you disciple someone?
That's a very good question that does not have a black and white answer.
Okay.
I feel, and what I've experienced, okay, let me just put it this way. What I've experienced is, if you have agreed to disciple someone, what you need to do is set goal markers along the way, and then you walk with them as long as it takes to reach some of those goal markers. And when they've doubled back, right, 2 steps forward and 2 steps back,
right,
does that mean that you're done discipling?
No.
It means that you're still walking with them. And that's how you build relationship. That's how you build the kingdom of saying, hey, when Jesus said, go and make disciples of all nations, what did he say? Go make disciples of all nations and teach them everything that I've told you.
Yeah.
Okay. In other words, go build disciples.
Go mirror what I did.
Go do discipleship. Mirror
Right.
what I've done. Like I taught you for 3 years. So is that the cutoff? Depends on how naive or how dumb or how hard-headed the person is.
That's so true.
Right?
No, that's true.
Sometimes it's a hard heart and you're not going to get through it fast. Sometimes God's going to just soften that heart and you're going to see the person change seemingly overnight. And that's okay. That's okay. But on both sides of that coin, to answer how long is really not a definitive, like I can't give you a definitive answer. If you really want to see this person free from, let's say free from pornography, it ain't going to happen in a month.
No.
It may not even happen in a year, right? Free from hey pastor, I want to stop smoking pot. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like God wants me to stop smoking pot. All
Yeah.
right, cool. How long is that going to take?
Yo,
Right? Are you gonna? I'm gonna give you 6 months, and that's it. I mean,
a real story. This is a true story. I had a kid. I had a kid when me and Heather were youth pastoring in Seattle. This dude was coming in smelling like a whole bag of just. I was like, man, you know what? I might get high off this contact, brother. It was like, I think he was telling me, and this was no exaggeration, and I believed it because I could tell just in his mental capacity and how he looked. This dude was probably smoking like 12 a day.
oh geez.
Every day, like it was his function. And me and Heather were there for about 2.5, 3 years. Within the 2.5 to 3 years, he went from like, I think 12. He was like, I might be doing like 4 now. I'm like, that's progress.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I tell you something? Can we just celebrate the win?
Yes.
No, he didn't quit completely. But if he went from 12 to 4.
Yeah, then celebrate that.
I am going to celebrate that because
Celebrate
this
that.
guy came in from a family that has struggled with addiction. Tough. I don't know where this young man is at. My season was up there.
Right.
Lost contact. I don't know where he's at.
Right.
But I did celebrate that as a 12 to 4. That's a huge success rate.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, right, things aren't going to happen in 6 months.
Right.
Things aren't going to happen in a year. It's going to take some time. Okay, so then I asked the question, how long do you disciple? Is it safe to say that let's just see where this goes? Is that the right mentality to have to discipleship? Because I love that you said there needs to be an end goal, but
it is for 2 reasons. It is and it's not. Okay. Here's why I think that's an okay mentality to have.
right.
You don't want to waste your time if somebody is not going to put in the work.
Okay, because now you're getting into something I was going to ask later on, but keep going because I like where
you're and so yes, I will walk with you. Yes, I will help disciple you. Yes, I will walk through the struggle with you. I mean, that's part of what we say here on the podcast, right? We don't know everything,
right?
But we're willing to walk with you through anything, and walking through stuff, through any kind of thing is going to take whatever time it takes. But the reality is, if you're not going to put in the time, then I, as a person who's here to help you, I'm going to tell you, you're not doing the work. You're not doing the work. And if you're not doing the work, I'm going to help disciple you, which means I'm going to love you in discipline. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to stretch you. I'm going to push you, and you're not going to like me at times. And you either need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And don't go like our last episode. Don't go back around and say, "Oh, Pastor Wiz hurt me,
yeah.
so I got church hurt now." No, you asked me to walk through this with you, and the first sign that it got hard, all of a sudden I'm a big meanie. So
when do we, as the shepherd, know when it's time to stop the discipleship? Now, That's the question. We got to take a break so
do.
we can thank our sponsor.
Exactly. Hey, we just want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's show. You guys know that we drink coffee on this show all the time, and so it would be just perfect for our very first sponsor to be a coffee company. That's right. Beansforgiving.com. Beansforgiving.com. It's an extraordinary coffee with an extraordinary cause. Their signature blend is right here on the table, Sweet Jesus. We've been drinking that pretty much this whole season. He has 3 or 4 other blends that are fantastic. Beansforgiving.com. Extraordinary coffee with an extraordinary cause. You can find it online, beansforgiving.com. If you buy one, you give it, you enjoy. And here's the thing. 100% of the proceeds of the purchase of this coffee go to a nonprofit organization of your choice. That's right, a nonprofit organization of your choice. So not only do they not really make a lot of money on this, they support nonprofit organizations out there. They are also supporting this podcast by just giving us some coffee. So we want to make sure that we say thank you to Mr. Tony. Thank you for Beans for Giving, the company, beansforgiving.com. And so go check them out. And again, we receive nothing from your purchases, but I do have to tell you, it's good coffee with or without a little cream or sugar. It's great coffee by itself. So again, thank you to beansforgiving.com.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Okay, here's a question.
All right.
When do we know? Okay. When do we know when it's time to cut it?
Okay. If we're going to stay with the shepherding sheep analogy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes when the shepherd couldn't really help and train the sheep the way that he was supposed to go.
Yeah.
Do you know what they did?
Yeah.
What did they do?
They break his leg.
Break his legs. But then that shepherd carried that sheep, so that person became their burden. Okay? That sheep became his responsibility. That sheep became his burden. So I'm saying this with all caution. If you're going to bring somebody to a point of breaking, don't leave.
Yes.
Stay there.
Say that again.
If you're going to bring somebody to a point of breaking,
yes,
don't leave.
And I think we have to be very intentional. That's a word that I want to say.
Yes.
We have to be intentional. If someone is coming to me and asking me, Isaiah, will you walk with me? Will you pray with me? Will you? Yes. But I have to be intentional on my end.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
The other side of that coin that we said before the break was, okay, if they're not going to put in the work. What if they are putting in the work? Then you want to set those goals, you want to set those milestones, you want to say, hey, and then celebrate each one that happens. And then there is going to be a time where you're going to have to say, hey, you've done a great job. And then ask the question, do you feel like you're ready to try this on your own for a little while?
Ooh, that's good.
Do you feel like you are strong enough, you are empowered enough, and knowing that all you got to do is text me.
Yep.
Right. All you got to do is call me. I'm right here. But at the same time, now it's time for you to get back into the fold.
Yeah.
Do what it is that, like, now that can you acknowledge that you've changed and that you've healed and that you're ready to go?
Yes, sir. Now, okay, here's another question. Could be loaded, could be simple, could be not.
Probably loaded.
How many should we disciple?
Oh, wow.
See, Jesus chose 12.
Right.
That was his capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus wasn't married, didn't have kids, fully devoted to his tribe.
Correct.
How many should we disciple? And I know it's easy to say if you have an intern program, if you've got 5, 10, 12, well, then that's how many you have for X amount of months, depending on how many years your program is.
Right.
But for you as a senior pastor, husband, father, how many do you disciple? How many do you decide to choose to walk with?
Well, here's the great part about that. Pastoring a church, leading a business, shepherding people, that kind of thing. However God chooses to grow that group, like, I think he's going to give me the ability and the strength and the wisdom to handle.
Agreed.
However, if I open my mouth and I take on too much of my own, then I'm not going to be as effective. Now, where is that line for Pastor Wes? 3.
Okay, 3.
And here's why. Because I got 4 more at home. I'm still trying to disciple.
Oh, can you talk about that?
Like, I can take 3 outside of my family. I'm still trying to lead my family. I'm still trying to shepherd and love, and not shepherd, but like co-shepherd with my wife, our family, right?
Yep.
And my 22-year-old needs love, needs attention, needs discipling. My 19-year-old needs love, needs attention, needs discipling. My 14-year-old needs love, needs attention, needs discipling. And if I'm discipling everybody else, but my family goes astray,
thank you for going there.
I'm doing it wrong.
What does the word say?
I'm doing it wrong.
What does the word say? If a man cannot take care of his
His
own home. Because my first ministry is my home.
Is my house.
So
then,
okay,
to finish his answer,
because I got another loaded question.
Finish his answer. Three.
Okay.
3 for me, because
3.
I tend to be not empathetic. That's really the wrong word. Like, I'm not an empath. I don't feel people's feelings. I'm very sympathetic. Like, I look from the outside in and I say, wow, this is hard. This is rough. This is tough. I'm going to be here to walk with you through this.
That's me.
But I'm going to say that what you're doing is stupid if it's stupid.
That's me.
Right. That's not empathy. That's sympathy. And but I can do that with 3 people and still shepherd myself and my family, like lead myself and lead the family. And I know that from experience. I've done it.
Yeah.
Taking on more than that. That's when you get the phone calls in the middle of the night that you can't get away from. That's when you get the texts, in the middle of the day. That's when you're ready to tell one person that they're stupid, and then you tell the wrong one that they're stupid.
Yeah.
Or that they're being stupid.
Yes, sir.
That kind of thing. And so, and I don't, I'm not using the word stupid to be like,
No, I know what you mean.
Okay.
To be, yeah.
Like,
I know your heart. I
yeah.
pray you know our heart. Yeah.
So anyway, that's me. All right, next. What you got? You smiling over here, so I know something's coming.
We've all been Peter in one season.
Absolutely.
So what do you do with the Peter? What do you do with the Peter?
Well, first of all, you don't give him a sword. You don't let him walk around with a dagger.
This man walked around with a shank. The original. This is the first shanking we've seen.
Oh, man.
I don't know if that's right, but I'm just saying it.
And so here's something that I had a very wise man tell me. Don't try and change the person, change the behavior.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So what did Jesus do with Peter? He didn't change the person.
No.
But he focused his behavior.
Yes.
Right? Peter was the one that had the revelation of, you are the Messiah, you are the Christ. And then Jesus says, on that truth, I call you Petra, Peter, the rock, and I will build my church on the person who got the truth right the first time. And so if that really is the case,
keep going.
Okay, if that really is the case, then we're seeing that Jesus didn't change the person, he guided the behavior. But that's exactly what we do when we shepherd, when we disciple. We're not trying to change this sheep into a llama. We're trying to guide the sheep to be the best type of sheep, right? Or to guide, we're trying to guide the behavior. And if you have a loud and boisterous person that you are leading or that you're discipling, my lovely, amazing daughter, Kaylee, yes, I called you out on this podcast.
Kaylee.
You are amazing, and God made you boisterous, and he made you creative, and he made you loud, and he made you the way that God made her a lot like me, a lot like me. And I thank God that I had a mom and pastors who never tried to squelch who I was.
Come on, man.
But they tried to hone the behavior. They tried to guide some of the behavior.
Yes.
Like, I will never tell my daughter to not talk because she's a talker.
Bro, so is Zoe.
And so I'm going to do that. Now with my son, he's an entrepreneur. He's got, with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Like,
Let's go, Cole. Let's go.
He's already made money. Like,
this man's
the man is like doing it. He's 14, right?
Let's go, bro.
But his behavior is all or nothing. I'm going to go, I got to do all of this because I need this much money. I'm going to teach him to have money come in steadily.
Yep. Revenue. Constant income.
But that's changing behavior. That's not changing the person.
Right, because he's still going to have ideas.
Same thing with Peter. We're not changing the person. We're guiding the behavior.
Okay, bro, listen. And we're almost out of time, but I got to ask you this.
Okay.
It's a statement,
Okay.
but it's a question.
It's an interrobang. Gotcha.
It's a what?
Interrobang.
Never heard of that.
I'm going to teach you later.
Yep, after we get off. Okay, here's a statement. Because I love what Pastor West just said. We are not to change the person. We are to help change the behavior.
Correct.
Here's my question. Here's my thought. Here's my interrobang. Are we trying to help model Jesus in discipleship? Or are we trying to create many yous, many versions of ourselves?
Wow.
Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ.
Correct.
I've been in the letters of Paul for like the last year.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get away from it, and I won't, because we're just running through the letters of Paul with our youth ministry.
Right.
And I love what you said about what you're doing with Hope Church, and it's the same thing we're doing with Purpose 828.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a part of raising a generation to be biblically literate.
Correct.
Not illiterate,
Mm-hmm.
to know the word and have a foundation of the word, so then the way they have something to build on when they leave.
Right.
Now, I am not trying to create Purpose 828 in the image of Isaiah Robinson.
Correct.
I am trying to create Purpose 828 in the image and in the likeness of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about discipleship, we'll fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Are we trying to disciple them like Jesus and model Jesus,
Right.
or make many versions of ourselves?
Ooh, that's very good. That's very good. I've had that and I've done that. Both. Right. Because I'm an extreme extrovert. Because I love to study the word. There have been times when someone comes to me with a different flair, and they're quiet, and they want to preach this one message, which is completely out of context. And if you know me at all, or if you've been around me at all, you know it's got to be in context, or it's pretext, and it means it's nonsense.
And that's your biggest pet peeve. I know it.
It is.
I'm sorry.
But that question, that statement, actually makes me go, I know the times that I've tried to disciple people into me instead of try to disciple people towards Jesus or into Jesus. So yeah, that is a very challenging and encouraging, which is exactly what an interrobang is. The long short of it is, every time Jesus asked a question or made a statement, there was always a lesson.
So we don't try to change a Peter,
right?
But we help direct
the
Peter
behavior.
Because out of the 12, there's different personalities.
Well, Jesus didn't change Judas either.
No, he did not.
Right.
And he went to go pray to figure out who his 12 was. And Judas was in that 12.
Yep.
Which means Judas was supposed to be there
He
the
was
entire
supposed
time.
to be there the whole time.
Now, when we talk about discipleship, there are so many people in today's culture that use language like, and I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, go for
like
it.
There's youth pastors and there's young kids coming up behind, legend, bro, legend. You're a legend. I don't consider myself to be a legend in any way, shape, or form. I don't feel like I've done anything or enough yet to be considered a legend. That's Isaiah. That's just what I believe. That's my little creed right there. It's just my little belief. I would consider you a legend, somebody who's been out of youth ministry and children's ministry for X amount of years, and you're leading not just Hope Renton, but you're leading Hope Des Moines in a way that's not like other campuses. You allow the other campus pastor, Pastor Patrick, to run through the same book, but whatever God is leading you and teaching you, I want you to begin to share that excerpt with your congregation, with your sheep.
Well, and how he does it and how God leads him. And because, again, I'm not trying to make him into Pastor West.
And what did we just talk about? I think you talked about it right now, but the Bible says to make disciples of all
nations, right?
Teaching them in the ways of what?
To obey what Jesus commanded.
Not what I commanded.
Right.
So I just had to ask that question because I kind of feel like whenever we talk about disciples, at least in the era when there was internship programs,
right,
there were a lot of many persons walking around wearing Ed Hardy shirts, or I didn't have, it was just a phase, and you can see it and you saw it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to end with that question and see what you thought. Okay.
No, that's great. That's great. And I
give us a pre-close, and I'll get us into our next episode for next.
Okay. So the to bring it all back around, again, when we see someone struggling with something, right? When we see a pattern, okay, and I'm gonna just do a real quick pattern so that way we can kind of, well, what are you talking about? I can't stand it when people are late.
Yes.
Right. I've been trained to be early everywhere, because then you're there to serve, and you're there to and then you're also respecting everybody else's time.
Yes.
So when I help someone overcome being late, I'm not trying to make you into Pastor Wes. I'm trying to make you into the person who sees everybody else and respects everybody else.
Right.
Because, Christ didn't rush everybody. He didn't, he was where he needed to be when he needed to be there. But at the same time, when we take everybody else's time, then we're cutting into the Holy Spirit's time sometimes. And so when I'm training in this way and saying, I want you to be at least 15 minutes early, it's not because I'm trying to be mean, and it's not because I'm trying to make you into me. I want there to be room for the Spirit to do what he's going to do. And if we haven't checked off all of our boxes before service starts, or before the meeting happens, or even before the podcast happens, right? Yep. Like if we haven't checked off all of the stuff, and then we're like, okay, we're going to just throw out this little, hey, God bless what we're doing kind of prayer. Mm-mm. And then we miss the opportunity for the Spirit to do what he's going to do, or to say what he's going to say, or to lead how he's going to lead. And so discipleship then will fix that.
Yes.
Pastor Wes, I'm struggling. I can't seem to read my Bible every day. Awesome. Let me disciple you. What does that look like? You and I are going to do a devotion together. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do it on our phones, because I know you're on your phone all the time, exactly. all day, every day.
Shout out YouVersion.
And you and I, we're going to go through a YouVersion together. And there's a little button. Mm-hmm. And that little button says, talk it over. Yeah. And we're going to talk it over.
You better put a point in there.
And you got it. You can't just check it. I want to know that you've read it. And what did you think? Like, I'm going to disciple that. So discipleship oftentimes will fix some of the things that we're really that people are struggling with or trying to get away from. And again, that's not changing the person. That's changing the behavior. That's guiding the behavior.
I also will throw this in as we get ready to wrap up. Discipleship, discipline, they both share, it's the root word. Mm-hmm. I think if you want to be a disciple, you've got to have a disciplined lifestyle.
Yes.
And so when you bring yourself into asking somebody to disciple you, you're also allowing access for them to speak life into you. And when they speak life into you, as we always reiterate, Paul, speak the truth in love. Mm-hmm. So, hey, we're so glad that you joined us for episode 2.
That's right.
Episode 3 is it all worth it? Is it all worth it?
Is it all worth it?
If you have not liked or subscribed, make sure you do that right now before you leave. Email us at mintalkspodcast@gmail.com. Buy me a coffee /Ministry Talks Podcast. We love you. We don't know everything, but we're willing